Today we are going to start laying down as always, so find your cozy resting position and we'll meet up lying down on our mats. You can find however it feels good to lay down, whether that's with the legs bent or extended, whatever feels good in your body. And once you come to resting on the ground, gently begin to draw your eyes closed. And we'll take the next couple of moments to allow ourselves to arrive here and now. Allow your body to begin to sink down towards the ground beneath you. Relax the back of the head towards the ground. Soften your shoulders. Relax your back body, the hips, the legs, and the feet. Notice if you're holding on anywhere, maybe within the face, anywhere else in the body, and try to relax your body. Allow the ground to hold you. And as you are here, take a brief moment to truly grant yourself permission to be here and now. You made it. You arrived. The hardest part is over. For the next hour, all you get to do is to just be with yourself in your body and on your mat. So truly give yourself permission to let go of anything weighing on you or anything left to do. And allow yourself to really take advantage of this block of time and be fully present. When you're ready to connect within the body, gently turn your awareness towards the breath. Gently begin to feel the inhales and exhales begin to flow in and out of your body. Maybe you consciously take some deep breaths, allowing your mind to fully come to here and now. Today we are going to focus on the throat chakra. The throat chakra resides in the neck, the front and the back, and it's a beautiful, deep, sapphire blue light energy. So if you'd like to visualize this blue energy in the front and the back of your neck, feel free to do so. Maybe you begin to connect with the idea of the chakra within the neck. And notice while you're here, if you can begin to feel the gentle whisper of the breath along the throat as you inhale and exhale. Now this can be quite a subtle feeling, so maybe you just kind of visualize the feeling in your mind, or maybe you do feel the gentle brush of air. If you find it difficult to feel the breath in the throat, maybe you gently constrict the throat slightly as you breathe, making kind of a ha sound within the throat, just so you can feel the inhales and exhales in that region. Take a couple moments, breathe deeply, and just notice if you can feel your inhales and exhales within the throat. Take a couple more breaths, just allowing yourself to center here and now. If you'd like to stay resting on your back throughout practice tonight, by all means, feel free to do so. If at any point you want to come back to this posture, again, this is your practice, so please give yourself whatever feels best this evening, even if that's simply rest. If and when you're ready to move, follow an inhale to reach the feet towards the front of the room and hands reach out behind you towards the back wall. Nice full body stretch. On an exhale, gently hug the knees in towards you. Wrap your arms around the legs and give yourself a gentle sway side to side. As you rock, maybe you consciously let the ears fall side to side, rolling the neck and the head, just relieving any tension in the upper body. From here, we're going to gently make our way to seated. So your choice. You can roll over to one side and press yourself up, or begin to roll up and down the length of your mat. Just find what feels good in your body. And we'll meet up in a comfortable seated posture, whatever that means for you. Hands can rest gently on the knees. Take a big breath or two. Notice how you're feeling. We're going to start our practice today with seated cat-cow. So on your next inhale, hands reach out and around. Clasp the hands at the top. Exhale, hands behind your head. Perfect. Inhale, lift the chin, open the elbows wide. Exhale, begin to round, looking towards the belly button. Elbows come towards touching. Inhale, opening up. We're going for a nice neck stretch here. Exhale, round. Couple more rounds. Feel free to move at your own pace. Inhaling, expanding the chest. Exhale, round, stretch the back of the neck. Let's do about 2 more. Inhaling to open. You're doing great. Exhale, round. Again, no need to follow my pace. Move at your own. 1 more. Inhale. Spread those elbows wide. Chin lifts. Exhale, round. Beautiful job. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands come down onto the legs. All right, moving into the side of the neck next. Inhale, sit up super tall. Exhale, right ear over towards the right shoulder. Feel free to pause here if this feels like enough of a neck stretch. If you want to move a little bit further, maybe you gently place the right hand on the side of the right head, possibly even extending the left arm out to the side. You can even play around with it, maybe taking the hand down. Just find what works good in your body. Maybe you even lower the chin or lift it. Find just the yummy stretch on this side. Wherever you're at though, relax that left shoulder down away from your ear. Soften the jaw as much as possible. Breathe deeply. Can you feel the breath within the neck, the throat? 1 more big breath. Beautiful. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to the knees. Inhale, sit up as tall as you can. Other side. So exhale, tip it on over. Pause. If you want to go a little deeper, maybe you place the left hand on the side of the head or possibly reach the right hand out. Breathe into the side of the neck. Feel free to add movement here if that feels good for you. Again, relax the jaw as much as possible. Soften the right shoulder away from the ear. And again, if you'd like, the area of focus, possibly the breath within the neck or the back of the throat. 1 more big breath on this side. Beautiful. Inhale, come on back up. Hands to the knees. Exhale. Let's move on to neck circles. So inhale again, sit up nice and tall. Crown of the head reaches up. Exhale, right ear toward the right shoulder. Now we're going to come in. So chin in towards the chest as you roll toward the opposite side. Inhale. And then chin lifts. Head goes towards the back. Exhale out and around. So do a couple rounds at your own pace. Exhaling, chin comes in. Inhale as you lift. And again, if you find a spot that just feels super good in your body, feel free to pause and just breathe there. Do about one more round in this direction, and then we'll switch to the opposite way. Keep the jaw relaxed and shoulders soft. When you're ready, feel free to change direction, moving the opposite way. Stay with your breath and just breathe through the neck. About 2 more rounds, you're doing great. And about 1 more round, breathe deeply. Whenever you feel like you've had an even amount on each side, we'll gently meet up in a nice seated posture. If you want to add any organic movement to just get rid of any tension, feel free to do so. Our final posture for this flow is going to be a seated version of child's pose. So I'm going to turn to show you, but essentially you're going to step the feet out in front of you, whatever width or distance feels good, and then you're going to wrap the arms around the legs, and you can just drape your head on down. If you'd like, you can even stack the arms and rest your forehead on the forearms if that feels better for you. Find something that just feels super softening, relaxing, easy, like child's pose. And take some big breaths. So allow your back of your neck to soften as much as you can. Relax the jaw. Then maybe you can feel the whisper of the breath through the throat, working the throat chakra, working the neck. Couple more big breaths here, you're doing great. Beautiful. As you're here, feel free to stay as you are and listen to my voice for the recap, or you can peek up at me on the screen, whatever feels good for you today. So as a recap, we started this flow with seated cat-cow. So we brought the hands out and around, clasped them, and then we tuck the chin in on the exhales, open up on the inhales, all right? So you can do as many rounds of those as it feels good. From there, we move to stretching the sides of the neck. So we stretch the front and the back, then the side. So tipped 1 ear over, maybe held onto the side of the head and reached the hand out, held for as long as it felt good, and then moved to the other side. So seated cat-cow, neck stretch, then we did the full circle. So then neck circles, going out and around in one direction, and then eventually switch that direction to find balance in the body. From there, we made our way to just a nice little reset of a seated version of child's pose, just allowing ourselves to rest for a couple big breaths. So again, it was seated cat-cow. From there, we moved into the side stretch of the neck, then neck circles in each direction, and then seated child's pose. So we got 4 things there for you. Feel free to do some of that, all of that, maybe none of that. Find what serves your body today, and I'll be here to guide where to place the mind. So take the next couple moments for you, and I'll still be here. And as you approach this flow, just notice, find somewhere to anchor your breath. So whether that's going to be the breath in the throat or the body, allow the mind to just rest somewhere on the breath in the body. So find that point so you can understand and realize when the mind takes you out of that area of focus. And as you're here, allow the breath to flow effortlessly in and out. Soften the neck above and below as much as you can throughout the postures. So relaxing the face, the jaw, softening the back of the head, the shoulders, and of course the neck. Breathe through the neck. Maybe you visualize the beautiful blue light coming from the front and the back of your neck, which is the throat chakra. And as we're here working on opening, resetting the throat chakra, it's a beautiful place to be because I like to think of the neck and the throat as the bridge almost between the mind and the heart, or essentially the mind and the rest of the body. It's almost that gateway. And the throat, of course, allows us to speak. It gives us the ability to breathe. It allows us to have our voice. And with the throat chakra, I like to look at it as our source of communication, not just towards the external world, but also with ourselves. So we have the throat chakra in the front and the back. The front is what we give out towards the world. The back is what we bring in towards ourselves. So as you're here, find a loving space, possibly even a loving mantra for yourself. Sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves and we can speak to ourselves almost worse than anybody else. So find this space around you throughout this practice to be gentle to yourself, to find a loving energy towards yourself. The words we speak tend to not only reflect our mind, but even deeper reflect the heart. So become cognizant of maybe what comes up throughout your practice, of the verbiage, of the sayings, of the thoughts within. Notice how you communicate to yourself, possibly to others if you're practicing with a partner, or just have others in the space around you. And see if you can find your way back to a loving space. In other words, finding rest in what is, loving this moment for exactly how it is, letting go of shoulds or whatever else is in the mind. And as you feel the gentle whispers of the breath along the throat, allow yourself to bring in that beautiful energy to the heart and let a similar energy go back out towards the world. Whenever you do, noticing the mind taking you out of here and now. Again, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It's what the mind does. Find your way back to feeling the breath within the throat, or if you prefer, somewhere else in the body. Use that as your anchor, so when the mind wanders, you can find your way back. Whenever you complete the flow, you have all the time you need, but whenever you complete it, feel free to either continue to find movements that feel good for you, or simply take a couple moments to rest and Focus on the breath in the body. Notice how you feel after that little flow you just did. Maybe notice any themes so far, where the mind goes. Just become aware. Take some big cleansing breaths. Maybe feel those within the throat. If and when you are ready to move on, we'll eventually make our way to a normal child's pose. So transition to tabletop position and eventually sink those hips back to child's pose. And again, take your time. If there's other stretches you'd like to take, or if you prefer to do your own thing, this is your time. So please honor what feels good for you. If and when you get to child's pose, just take some big breaths. And feel how it feels to simply be in your body. Whenever your next inhale arises, make your way up to tabletop position, hands and knees. And then curl the toes under on an exhale, knees lift up and shift on back, downward facing dog. This is going to be the first posture of our next flow, so take some time here. If you need to bend the knees, pedal out the heels, whatever feels good. Find whatever movement feels good. Maybe you even kind of roll or rock the head side to side. Find a nice release. Couple more big breaths here. Relax your jaw. Can you feel the breath along the back of the throat? On your next inhale, gently begin to walk the feet all the way up to your hands. Feel free to bend the knees in order to get there. And once you get there, we'll rise up halfway and pull the heart forward. On the exhale, hang heavy. So we're going to find a nice release in the neck here. So your choice, if you want to bend the knees and even rest your belly on the thighs, feel free to do so. So lots of options here, but before we approach our options, notice what you see when you look out of your eyes. Are you looking down at your mat, or are you seeing the wall or the legs behind you? We're going for looking at the wall behind us, so the chin kind of tucks in towards the chest, and we find a nice long neck. So back of the neck relaxes completely. Take a big breath or two. If you want to move the hands, you can wrap them around each other, hands around opposite elbows. Or if and when you're ready, maybe like in seated cat-cow, you interlace the fingertips and place the hand on the back of the head. Possibly kind of hugging the chin in, maybe rotating the head side to side, but find what serves your body. We're just going for a nice, easy release along the back of the head. You can even roll the neck side to side or bob the head in a yes-no manner. Relax, 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 and breathe deeply. Again, if you're feeling most of the stretch in the backs of the legs right now, bend the knees, find your way towards feeling the prominent stretch in the back and the back of the neck. Couple more big breaths here. Awesome. One more big round of breath. On your next inhale, rise up halfway, pull the heart forward, pause here, exhale. Inhale, bend your knees and slowly roll on up, stacking one vertebra at a time. Whenever you get to the top, exhale and roll the shoulders down the back body. Great job. All right, I'm going to face you to show the next stretch. On your next inhale, stand up as tall as you can. So crown of the head reaches up. On the exhale, we're going to place the right hand on the left shoulder. Big inhale again, and then on your exhale, drop the left ear over toward the left shoulder. So pause here. Maybe this feels good for you. If you want to move even to a deeper neck stretch, the chin's going to come in towards the chest, and then you'll gradually move the right ear over toward the right shoulder. So you're just kind of placing the hand across the body, which gently weighs down the left shoulder. So you can play around with this again, lowering the chin, lifting it, finding a stretch that feels good for you. Pause here for a couple big breaths. Breathe deeply into the side of the neck here. Relax the jaw. One more big breath on this side. On your next inhale, come back up to standing straight up. Exhale, hand by the side. All right, let's try that on the other side. So inhale, stand up as tall as you can. Exhale, left hand to the right shoulder. Pause here. Inhale, try to lift up even higher. Then exhale, right ear toward the right shoulder. Pause for a moment or two. Breathe. And then maybe you transition, tucking the chin in towards the chest and eventually rolling over, bringing the left ear toward the left shoulder. Again, play around with where your chin lies in space. Breathe to the side of the neck. Relax your jaw. Notice how this feels for you. Can you maybe even feel the breath in the throat here? Feel free to close the eyes. Let's take about one more big breath. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hand comes down. All right, from here, your choice. You can either work through a vinyasa or just step back to down dog. I'll lead stepping back to down dog. So inhale, hands sweep up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, your choice. Step it back to down dog or move through plank, down dog, or up dog, and then down dog. So your choice. Find what works in your body. Once you get to downward facing dog, take a couple big breaths. Breathe deeply. And your choice. You can either listen to the recap in down dog or make your way to child's pose just for a little resting posture. Wherever you're at, just take a couple big breaths to reset. Notice how you feel. Relax your jaw and find your way to feeling the breath in your body. All right, feel free to listen to my voice or prop your head up to watch on the screen ahead of you. Find what works in your practice right now as a recap. So we started this flow in downward facing dog, held for however long it felt good for you. Maybe you added some kind of neck stretches, looking side to side or curling in and lifting up. From here, we made our way to the forward fold at the tops of our mats. So we hung heavy here and tried to find as much of a neck release as we could, possibly even interlacing the hands on the back of the head, maybe rolling the head side to side. And again, you find what served your body. From here, we rose up halfway, paused to exhale to avoid any sort of head rush, and then we slowly came on up on an inhale. Once we made our way all the way to standing, we did that neck stretch. So the hand came across the body, and then we started with bringing the ear towards that hand, and then rolled over to the other side. You can take your time and just find where this feels good. And then we did the same thing on the other side. So ear towards the hand, and then out and around. From there, we made our way back to either down dog or child's pose. Again, hands came up, then we dove back down, rose up halfway, and again, your choice. You can either move to plank from here, lower down, up dog and down dog, or simply make your way back to downward facing dog, possibly even a nice child's pose. So as a recap, for that one, it was down dog, forward fold, then we came up to standing and did the neck stretch across the body, and back to down dog or child's pose. So play around with that, find where that works in your body, find what feels good here and now, and simply where you can stay connected with your breath. I'll be here to guide you. Feel free to take the next moments truly for yourself. And again, please find what feels good. No need to do the flow we just did. If you just want to experiment and do all, some, or none of that, again, find what works in your body. Continue to breathe deeply wherever you decide to go and stay connected within. Notice where your mind is at right now. What are you thinking about? If your mind is on feeling the breath, possibly in the throat or anywhere in the body, stay there. If your mind has taken you out of this time or space, notice where it goes. Become aware. And you decide whether you'd like to stay within the mind, and that's okay, that's totally fine, or if you'd like to come back to here and now. When you decide to come back, find your way to an activity happening right now. The easiest one to link to is the breath. Feel the breath in the body. Stay with the inhales and the exhales. Again, if you want to feel the breath in the throat, maybe you constrict the throat slightly, making a ha sound with the mouth closed. And you can really tune into the rush of air in and out of the throat when you make that sort of sound. Maybe with every breath you visualize that beautiful blue light getting a little bit brighter within the neck. Find your way to here and now. Wherever you're at, notice how you can soften your body even further. So maybe that means relaxing your gaze or your facial expression, possibly the jaw. Maybe that means softening the shoulders, the arms. How can you soften further within your body? Just notice what comes up. Soften the body, the mind, the space around you. And as you feel the breath possibly in the throat, imagine feeding yourself a loving energy as you breathe in, and exhaling a beautiful loving energy as you breathe out, allowing this to pass through the throat chakra, the neck as you breathe. wherever you're at, continue to breathe deeply. If and when you complete that flow, again, find any sort of release, stretch, posture that serves your body. It doesn't have to be a neck stretch. It can be anything that you need right now. Or simply take a couple moments to notice how you feel, to notice and observe any themes or anything coming up tonight within the mind or the body. To simply observe and release any judgment. Whenever you are ready to move on to our final flow of class, we will eventually meet up laying on our back body. So again, take your time. If there's stretches you want to take on the way, if you're still wrapping up a flow, find what works for you. When you're ready, we'll eventually meet up laying on the back body. And take all the time you need. When you make your way towards resting on the back, just take a couple big breaths. Allow your body to sink towards the ground. Relax your jaw and try to soften the back of your neck and the shoulders. The first posture of our final flow is going to be bridge pose. So if your legs are extended on your next inhale, step your feet in about hips distance, heels in towards the bottom. Hands come by your sides with the palms face down. On an inhale, lift the chest up off the ground, shoulders inch down the back body. Exhale, set the chest back down. Pause here. Whenever your next inhale arises, press through the feet, lift the hips up off the mat, and pause, breathing here deeply. So as you're here, keep the chin lifted up off the chest, or in other words, press the back of the head down into the mat. Chest presses towards the chin, so we're maintaining the natural curve in the neck when we do this. Squeeze the glutes, knees energized towards each other like you're squeezing a block between your legs as the heels press down. Let's take about 2 more big breaths. Relax the jaw, breathe through the throat. Whenever your next exhale arises, slowly lower back down, 1 vertebra at a time. Inhale, step your feet out wider than hips distance. Exhale, knees rest against each other along the midline of the mat. So just allow the knees to fall in towards each other. All right, so for our next series of postures, we're going to have the option to make our way all the way up to shoulder stand. If at any point it feels like too much, please just stop at any prior variation that we work through, all right? So when you're ready, feet back in towards hips distance, heels in towards your bottom, and we're simply going to start with Viparita Karani. So lift the feet up off the ground. Step 1 for Viparita is to have the knees simply over the hips, keeping the knees bent. So if this feels good for you and you're like, oh yeah, I want to stay here, then you're going to stay right here. Take a big breath. If you want to move on to full Viparita Karani, you'll lift the feet so the ankles are stacked over the knees and the knees over the hips now. Hands can rest by your sides or on the body, your choice. Toes point up towards the ceiling. So again, pause here. If it feels like a lot of work to keep the feet lifted up, then you can come back down and bend the knees, or stay where you're at, maybe just lower the feet a little bit somewhere in space where it doesn't feel as much of work to be here. So pause here for a couple big breaths. If you'd like to stay in Viparita Karani, then feel free to do so. If you want to begin to work up towards shoulder stand, the way that we're going to do this is by kind of rocking the hips up off the ground and maybe catching the hips in the hand. So you might be in like a half kind of version. That's totally fine. If you want to work towards full, you're gonna point the toes up towards the ceiling, maybe inch the elbows towards each other. And just like we did in bridge pose, press the back of the head towards the mat, keeping the chin lifted off the chest. So maybe you pause here. Maybe you make your way towards plow pose by allowing the feet to come towards the back side of the head. Breathe wherever you're at. And again, it's okay to stay in Viparita Karani. I'm going to stay there so I don't sound funny when I'm talking. So take a couple breaths. Feel free to explore where you'd like to be. Maybe it's shoulder stand with the toes pointing up. Maybe it's plow halasana with the feet behind the head. Whenever you are ready to come out of any of those postures, as slowly as you can, roll down one vertebra at a time, eventually coming back to a Viparita Karani type of pose. And then we'll pause there. So again, explore those postures, find if they work in your body tonight. It's okay if you're not feeling it. And then when you're ready, we'll lower the feet to bend the knees to our first version of Viparita Karani, and eventually set the feet back down on the mat. So we are going to move towards a counter pose now. So that's an intense stretch on the neck. We're going to open the neck back up with fish pose. So feel free to either watch me and then attempt, or just listen to my voice if you are familiar with the posture. For our version, we're going to keep the knees bent, feet flat on the ground, and we're going to grab a hold of the outsides of our hips. So from here, you're going to press the elbows into the mat and try to lift the torso up, and then allow the head to drop back. Once it's here, slowly lower the head down to the mat. So I have this arc in my back body, elbows pressed towards the ground. I pull the belly button up towards the ceiling, chest pulls up as well. Breathe deeply here. Couple big breaths. Let's take about 2 more. One more big breath. When you're ready to come on out of it, you're just going to kind of press the elbows down and roll yourself on out. Pause for a moment or two, let the spine recalibrate. Breathe deeply. Now, if you want to add one more little neck stretch here, we're going to interlace our fingers, making that cradle-like shape like we did in seated cat-cow. Hands come behind the head. And maybe you just gently lift the head up off the ground, resting it in the hands, and just rock it side to side, almost making like a semicircle with the neck or with the chin on the chest. If this feels like too much and you just want to rest, feel free to do so. Breathe wherever you're at. When you're ready, eventually set the head back down and just take a couple moments to rest and notice how you feel. Big breaths here, breathing through the throat, through that throat chakra in the neck. All right, so feel free to listen to my voice or watch on the screen for our recap. Again, this is a choose your own adventure, so find what works in your body here. To start, we started with bridge pose. So we lifted the hips on up, paused for a couple of breaths, chin lifts up off the chest. And then we lowered back down, and we rested for a couple moments in a restorative bridge, stepping the feet out, and then rested the knees against each other. All right, from here was when you can really choose what you wanted to do. First option was Viparita Karani with the knees bent. So you can stay here. Maybe you lifted the feet up if that didn't feel like too much strain in the body. From here, there was the option to go into full shoulder stand. So again, the first version to kind of get into that is to just kind of rock and maybe catch the hips. That is totally fine. If you want to, or if it's in your practice to begin to work to full, maybe you begin to lift the feet up, elbows work towards each other. Again, back of the head presses towards the mat. If you want to, from here, go to plow pose, feet go behind the head. Maybe you pause for a couple moments here. Again, whenever you're done, just slowly roll on out of the posture, one vertebra at a time. Sounds funny when I talk in those postures. All right, then from here we move to the counter stretch. Definitely want the counter stretch of fish pose. So wherever you went, fish pose is next. So you grab a hold of the outer thighs, and then you kind of press the elbows into the mat so you can lift the torso up. Then the head drops back as you set the top, the crown of the head on the mat. Pausing here, belly button pulls up, chest pulls up, nice arc in the spine, couple big breaths. This really relieves the neck after shoulder stand. Eventually making your way on out, pausing, letting the neck, the spine neutralize. Maybe moving to bringing the hands behind the head and just kind of rocking the head side to side. All right. So that seems like a lot. Let me recap for you one more time. So again, choose your own adventure. Started with bridge pose. From there, we rested in a restorative bridge pose. After that, it was any version of Viparita Karani, shoulder stand to plow. So started in Viparita Karani, legs up, possibly lifted up to like candlestick, shoulder stand, maybe tipped it on over to plow pose. You can stay there for as long as you want. If you want to go to that far in your practice today, either way, we rolled on out and eventually made our way to fish pose, which was kind of that arc in the spine. After that, maybe you cradled the head, rock side to side, but really just find what feels good for you and your neck after those intense stretches. So again, bridge pose, any version of Viparita Karani to shoulder stand to plow pose, and then fish. All right, so give that a try. If you want to do all, none, or some of that, again, this is your practice tonight, so only go to where it feels good. Take your time, next couple moments for yourself, and just find what works in your body. Again, please, please, please meet yourself where you are at today in your practice. So no need to go any further or to push yourself further than you're ready. Find what works here and now. And all that other good stuff will come with time. Please honor your practice, your body, and what you're feeling up to this evening. Stay connected with your breath. Generally, if you find it difficult to maintain an even and balanced breath in a posture, then that's slightly further than you're ready to go. So maybe use your breath as your gauge. Find where you can take those full, even, balanced breaths and stay within that kind of area of your practice. Continue to breathe deeply. Notice where your mind is at right now. Find your way back to your breath, possibly feeling the breath in the neck and the throat. Keep the jaw relaxed, shoulders soft. Breathe deeply. As we work in towards the neck, the throat, we're opening up the throat chakra. We're letting go of any blockages within that channel of communication, not only from the mind to the body, from the body to the mind, but also from the mind and the heart to ourselves and the external world. So again, maybe you visualize, imagine your beautiful breath feeding that sapphire blue light energy in the throat, in the back, in the front, letting it emanate out from you, glowing, bright. Again, no matter where you choose to go in your practice tonight, know that you're perfectly fine exactly where you are right now. If and when you decide to be complete with that flow, we will eventually meet up simply resting and laying on our back body. So again, please take all the time you need. You have all the time, but when you're ready, no need to sit on up. Just find your way to a comfy resting position on your mat. And if there's any stretches or postures you'd like to take after the flow that you just did, feel free to do so. Breathe deeply. And when you do come to resting on your back body, your choice if the legs are extended or the feet flat on the ground, but just allow yourself to kind of rock the head side to side. So bring the chin toward the right shoulder and then up and over toward the left shoulder. Just kind of looking side to side, but you can have the eyes closed. Breathe when you lift the chin, exhale when you lower. Again, if you're still flowing, take your time, but if you are resting on your back body, just find that nice little release. Moving the chin side to side. We'll eventually meet up, center, chin lifted up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to place the hands on the neck. If at any point this does not feel comfortable for you, please feel free to not do this or get out of it. It can be a sensitive region to place the hands on the neck, so if you don't feel comfortable, please feel free not to go there. Start by rubbing your hands together, making friction and heat between your hands. So you press them together and rub, 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 and then place your hands on the sides of your neck. So kind of cupping the neck in the hands. Take some big breaths. Maybe you close the eyes and just feel the warmth of the hands on the neck. One more big breath. Beautiful. Let's rub the hands together one more time if that felt okay for you. Rub, 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 rub. Make friction between the hands. When you're ready, place the left hand on the front of the throat and the right hand behind your neck. Pause here and just let that heat seep into the neck. Breathe. Maybe you feel the breath in the throat. When you're ready to release this posture, gently allow the hands to float down by your sides. Extend the legs, extend the arms, and we'll meet up for Savasana. Again, if there's any final postures or stretches that you wish to take, feel free to do so. But when you're ready, find a cozy resting position on your mat. And as we're here, gently bring your mind's eye to your neck, to your throat. Visualize that beautiful blue light emanating from the front and the back of your neck. Begin to relax your body. Start by softening the crown of your head. Relax your forehead, the eyebrows, and the eyes. Soften your temples, the cheekbones, and the jaw. Relax your ears, the back of the head, and the scalp. Soften the back of your neck. Relax the sides of your neck. And soften the front. Allow the throat to open. Melt your shoulders down towards the ground beneath you. As you relax the upper arms and the elbows, soften the lower arms and the wrists. Relax your hands, allowing every finger to get a little bit softer. Soften your chest, the rib cage, the belly, and melt the spine and back body towards the ground beneath you. Relax the low back, the hips, the glutes, and the pelvic area. Begin to soften the upper legs, relax the knees, soften your lower legs and the ankles. Relax the feet completely, allowing them to splay outwards with gravity's pull. Every toe gets a little bit lighter. Notice if you're holding on anywhere else in your body, and just let go. Let your body melt towards the ground beneath you. And allow this inner state of relaxation and ease to translate to your mind, softening the mind as though it's a muscle itself, letting it melt and fade away. For the next couple of moments, just let yourself rest here. Allow your body to soften with every natural breath as you soak in the goodness of your practice this evening. Gently begin to invite the awareness back in towards your body. Maybe you begin to introduce small wiggles to the toes, the fingers, the wrists, and the ankle. And only when you feel ready to move, gently roll over to either side and pause there, resting in a fetal position. Take your time. Again, only when you feel ready, gently press yourself all the way up to seated, keeping the eyes softly closed as you transition. And we'll eventually meet up with the eyes closed and palms touching at heart center. As you're here, take a couple of moments to consciously realize how you feel right now. Bring your awareness to your mind, your headspace. Notice how it feels. What word describes the state of your mind right now? And gently draw your awareness to your body, maybe even noticing the neck in particular. Notice how it feels. What word describes your body? Eventually, tune into your emotional well-being. What emotion do you feel in this moment? And just notice, observe, and let it be. Whatever comes up is perfectly fine. And gently give yourself a smile and truly, truly thank yourself for showing up here this evening and for dedicating your time to your health, to your life, and to your practice. And thank you so very much for sharing your beautiful energy with me here tonight. The light in me truly honors the light in you. Namaste.